everybody, it's Zach again at newtutorial.com. I picked a bunch of great pecans yesterday from my tree out front, and just sitting here tonight and cracking a few of these open. They're great, unbelievably great pecans. Very high in antioxidants and nutrients. Great way to cleanse your body out of some of the garbage that you put into it on a daily basis. I think we're all guilty of that at some point if we still live in the world. Anyway, just watching the news out there as I'm doing this, and I'm watching this whole Chicago teachers strike, and I think just the whole thing is just silly. But I have to laugh because I'm never going to find myself in that situation. There's no way my kids are going to the public indoctrination centers, otherwise known as the public school system. I was raised in the public school system. I know what goes on there. I know how ungodly of a place those places can be. I think a lot of the horrible things that we see our children getting into can be avoided by avoiding the public school systems in general. The teachers there don't care. Teachers there are not allowed to discipline anymore like they used to. And so things just get kind of crazy and out of control. But I'm laughing as I see this because I'm watching this stuff play out on the news. And it's not about pay. I mean, they've actually agreed. I mean, the whole thing about pay is ridiculous anyway. They're like, what, the highest average paid teacher in the country in Chicago? $74,000 for a teacher. What? That's pretty good pay for a teacher. $74,000 average pay for a teacher in the city of Chicago? Wow. Man, I think I should have been a teacher if the average pay is $74,000, because if you're above average, you're getting paid pretty good money, all right? So they're getting a 16% pay raise. The argument over this whole deal is not about pay. They've agreed on the pay. The argument is that Rahm Emanuel, who is the mayor, and as liberal a dirtbag as Rahm Emanuel is, I actually agree with him on this point. He says, listen, we're going to hold our principals to account on how well their schools perform. If we're going to hold our principals to account, the principals should have the option to choose which teachers they're going to put in their schools. They should have the overall authority. And the teacher union says no, they don't have that authority. That you can't hire and fire what teachers you want. We get to decide. It's not up to the principals. And so, that's unfair in my opinion. But that's the way it's been. The schools are out of control. The public school system is nuts. It's out of control. And so why you would ever put your kids, in a public indoctrination center as the public schools today is beyond me. I have talked to public school teachers. They have been in my classes when I taught creation science. The teachers there are just frustrated with the burdens they're under. The school administration is frustrated with the burden that the school boards put them under. And this is just another example of that. If you're going to be held to account for your performance, you should be able to determine how you're going to run your classroom or run your schools. And here we have principals who want to run their schools a certain way. They're held to account on the performance of their schools. And if they can't pick what teachers they put in their schools, well then how are you going to hold me to account for something I can't control? It's impossible. It's really impossible. And so they're being held to a standard that they can't keep up to. And it's really because of the teachers unions. So anyway, I see that and I understand their frustration, which is just another reason why I don't put my kids in those schools. Right now you have all these teachers on strike, and all of the kids around Chicago are just out in the streets because, number one, mom and dad's at work because they're beholden to the lie that they have to work for a living instead of be home with these crumb crunchers. And so the kids are out on the streets and they're doing whatever they want to do and just running amok. It's crazy. And now the city has to deploy all these extra police officers to deal with all the kids that are on the streets. Because the teachers are on strike, the schools are closed, unless you want your free meals for the day. They are offering their free meals. But the kids will be like, I'd rather go out and play and do whatever a teenager does when they have no supervision. They have no school supervision, and no parent supervision, so they're out running amok. Oh, it's a mess. It's a mess. I think the last teacher I met who was a qualified teacher, I forgot who it was, but I had just run into a teacher the other day who says that she's qualified, she has a degree in teaching, and she's like, I'm not teaching, I'm going to teach my own kids. I'm not going to go do that. My wife has a degree in teaching. She has a degree in music education. If she would have taken her degree and done its full potential, she would have been a teacher. But no, she's going to be a teacher here at home and teach our children herself. She's not going to teach other children whose parents are off working because they don't care. No, she's going to teach her children, our children, in the home. Get your kids out of the schools. I know if you're a single mom, I know it's hard, because how are you gonna work if you're a 2-parent home and you're sending your kids off to the public indoctrination centers? Get your kids out of the school. But I have to work. We have to pay the bills. We have to do this. We have to do that. I get it. I understand. It's hard. Take a step in faith. Go to the Father in prayer and say, listen, Father, I know this is not the plan you had for your people. Get us where you want us to be. And I know it takes baby steps to get there. We took a step in faith. My wife was doing a pretty good job, making good money. My wife's a very intelligent person, and she could make good money if she went out into the workforce. And she was an administrator for a firm, and was doing very well at that, making good money. And we decided, no, when we have our baby, our first child, she's going to be a stay-at-home mom. And it was the best choice we made for our family. You cannot make a better choice for your family. And so I would ask you to reconsider if you're not doing that. We're getting ready to have our second child. Our first child is now in kindergarten age, and he has started homeschooling. And we have a curriculum that we've picked out. It's a very good curriculum from what I see, and I see that he's learning and he's developing his social skills with other children who are also homeschooled that he meets up with, and it's good stuff. And I would think that if you had any brains about you, you would see that the system that's set up now for our children is not working. It's not working, and the kids that come out of these systems are messed up. They are very worldly, and they are not godly. They do not have their focus on where they need to have their focus on. And so if you can get out of the public school system, I would do it. Do it. Get out of it. And anyway, so we're homeschoolers. I'm just watching this thing with some interest in Chicago and watching how this thing is just playing out in the streets. And it's bad, for these kids, and it's bad for the teachers, and it's bad for the public. It's because we have gotten away from what our Bible calls, what our Torah, how the Torah tells us we should raise our children. And we should teach them in the ways that they should go, and that way is Torah. And right now, kids in the public school system have no idea what's right and wrong. That they're going to get out of that public school system, and they're going to think that they evolved. They're just animals that evolved over millions of years. They started off as an amoeba and worked their way up, and eventually crawled up onto land, and it's just nonsense. We've forgotten our Bible. We have no idea what our Bible says anymore, and we don't teach it, and the kids don't learn it. So if you don't teach it, kids won't learn it, and there you have. We have society today that is completely lawless. And this is what a lawless America looks like. This is what a lawless world looks like. And, that's just the way it is. So, come Lord Yeshua. So, all right, that's it. I'll just leave it at that. I was just interesting. I thought I'd make a video, and I was just cracking some pecans here, and wanted to get on all that. And there's lots of news out there today. So, just is what it is. All right, guys, go home. Read your Bible. Thanks.